Super BS.
Hey everyone, venture into the pop culture cosmos today, where you'll hear our conversations on different topics within the world of movies, TV, video games, comic books, technology, board gaming, and more. You'll also get a taste of some of our other shows within the cosmos as well. So come on and join us each week as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.
Boop, 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 boop. We just want to thank you guys. We did it. We just became the world's #1 podcast. We got the viewers. We're at 500,000 listeners and viewers combined.
We're almost at the Mario 2 song. That
And that's the type of music we're going to keep giving you now till the end of time, now that we're the world's #1 podcast.
How many viewers do we have? All of them.
All of the viewers on YouTube voted us #1.
I mean, we have all of our own viewers.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it's like a it's like a political statement. Like
political statement.
A truth and a half-truth and then a lie all mixed into one.
And that's the truth.
And that is the truth. So, what movies have come out recently?
What did it come out? What did I just
It doesn't matter what movies came out. What
Wonder
matters
Woman.
is the reviews for The Mummy came out.
Which are... That's
are
what
they bad? I don't want to know anything
Let's
about
just
the
say
movie.
we're in a
Are they
basement
bad?
and I can smell it from here because it stinks.
geez.
Oh, man.
I saw Wonder Woman, though.
Was it
You
good?
know what's funny about...
I didn't like it.
Shut up for a
enough.
second. What's funny about The Mummy...
For a second.
Sorry, that was aggressive. That
No,
wasn't
no,
funny.
Yeah, it was.
It sounded funny in my head. This is the.
Now we
this
need an
is
apology
the-
cast. Sorry, wait for apology.
This is the first movie where we're really seeing the flaws, the imperfections of Scientology because Tom Cruise finally looks old and weird.
Well, he's not level 7 yet. He can't
Right.
levitate.
What I'm saying is that if you notice, like even in like Mission Impossible, I feel like
He looks a lot younger.
does he ever age? And then now it looks like he's had plastic surgery.
Well, yeah,
So-
he must be almost 60 now, though, right?
I don't know how old he is.
I am very curious. Now, to get back to what Jank was saying.
Hey, but for real, though, Russell Crowe, that guy, he hit a certain age and he hasn't aged since. I don't know.
Yeah, but he hit like old man age.
Yeah.
He looks like
He hit it very young.
he is like in. Do you see Nice Guys?
Yeah.
He's literally playing my girlfriend's dad. Like he's like kind-hearted, but always kind of grumpy seeming. And every time he's like, oh shit, whatever, like that kind of thing. Like that's literally.
I'm trying to figure it out. Well, okay, how was Wonder Woman real quick before we get on to
It was
you?
good, but it was overhyped, I feel.
Really?
It basically, like, the first act was great, but then it turned into Captain America.
He's 54.
Yeah.
So he's not. Okay, sorry, we're back to Tom Cruise.
Oh,
We're in
Tom
Captain
Cruise.
America, so they had a guy who ripped his mask off and became the devil.
It would pretty much was Captain America after the first act.
I got that vibe from the trailer, but I guess that's what happens when it's a superhero movie set in World War II.
Yeah,
so.
that's
Oh, World War
that's
One.
true.
Oh, World
That's
War
why.
But
One.
it's funny
Yeah.
because I went on.
That was like the cool thing about it.
I was like telling people that I didn't really think it was that great, and it was like I have
So
offended
you wanted
them
to
on
draw
an-
the ire of the internet, huh?
Well,
Like,
it's like I had offended them on an emotional level.
yeah, why did you tell anyone that though? Because it's like it's everyone's darling right now online is the Wonder Woman. Like maybe it's supposed to be pretty good. We had a buddy who saw it. He really
is
liked
good.
it.
I didn't not enjoy it, but it just had
But
had some flaws.
I'm just happy DC has a movie that people
Oh,
think
for
is
sure.
okay, that's done okay. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
I feel like DC was going to crash and burn, and they have no shot.
Hey, Man of Steel was decent.
Man of Steel is terrible. That's like
What are
one
you
of the
talking
worst
about?
movies. I would
What?
rather see Batman versus Superman. I would actually put it like, because I haven't seen Wonder Woman. Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad. What else? What deal do they have in the DC Extended Universe? Do you guys know?
That's it.
What?
Wonder Woman.
There's.
Man of Steel, Suicide Squad,
Okay, and then Man of Steel, Down at the Ground for people who aren't watching us.
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Is that canon?
I don't know if that's DCE. Are they going to get Ryan Reynolds back? That'd be awesome.
I don't think they're doing a Green Lantern
They
anymore.
should, because that was terrible. They
Yeah.
need a second one. I heard they have like a sequel ending to that one.
Right.
Obviously, no sequel. Anyways, we are a video game podcast about movies, and we don't talk about games anymore. We hate E3, and we don't even want to know about it.
Welcome to Super BS, the best cooking show on the internet.
Oh my god. Smack this guy. I'm Brank.
Jank.
Brank 2.0.
And Dank. Okay, what have you been playing, Dank?
Mostly Fire Emblem Echoes. Shadows of Valentia. Very long game.
Do you like it any more than last week?
Yeah, I like it more. I had my first...
You like it enough to buy something for it?
Yeah, I did foolishly buy the season pass.
I don't know if it's foolish, but it's a very expensive season
pass. It is expensive. So the reason I did this,
it's almost 50.
It's more. It's 40. It's more than the game. There is a lot of content and supposedly more. But the reason I did this is because I had a balance of like $30 in my Nintendo account, and since nothing comes out for Nintendo anymore,
yeah, 3DS, yeah.
I was like, what am I ever going to use this money for?
You could have bought Ever Oasis though, which looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I can still buy it.
Yeah, you can get it.
Anyway, so I've been playing that. It is a lot of fun. I've kind of made some headway into the game. I'm at the point where you can control. There's 2 armies you control in this game. There's like 2 story paths, not 2 story paths in the sense that you choose 2 story paths. I mean, the main game splits focus between 2 different characters. And
do you get to choose, or is it just kind of like, okay, it just sends you down the way?
Yeah, it's like chapter by chapter, but I'm at a part where you can freely choose between and do accomplish missions and stuff. So it is a lot of fun. I'm definitely enjoying the battling system. I wish that for a game that can, if you want it to be grindy, it can be very grindy. I don't really... The concept of grinding sometimes to me is baffling, where it's like, okay, I'm at your max level for each class is 20, but there's class upgrades, so you tier classes and stuff like that. Is it
the same as the old ones where you want to get to 20 before you tier up so you can get all your stats?
So, yes and no. This is hotly debated on GameFAQs, where I frequent occasionally.
I wish it was like a lesser known. It's hotly debated on YouPorn, where I go to like some like weird site. All 500 listeners, please don't say that. That wasn't the site that first came to my mind.
4chan is basically a mix of GameFAQs and YouPorn, I guess.
Not a porn cast.
But anyway.
GameFAQs. I do actually go to GameFAQs a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll just Google.
Yeah, and it always comes up.
I'll Google a question, and usually the nerds that talk about it the most are the ones on GameFAQs. So, yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you frequent those kind of things and you start seeing the same people for every RPG that you play, and then you can see the ones that are like trolls, and then they like all hate each other. It's like GameFAQs is pretty toxic. I feel like it is definitely like a Sony online community. But
I think just games as a whole have somehow the comment threads are always
IGN's comment boards are stupid.
Yeah, I actually think Game Informer has the best comments I've ever seen, or Kotaku. They're the most. Like, they rarely fight each other.
Yeah.
Like, I don't always agree with them, but at least they don't fight. It's not always like infighting where it's like, well, you're dumb because this had this. Yeah. You know, there's like...
There's a lot less Sony white knights on Kotaku. Yeah. And, I mean, even if there's definitely fanboys, there just seems to be less people that care to respond to stupid comments.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, IGN is my favorite, where like every single article is somehow turned into like a Sony versus Microsoft war.
Console war.
And you can tell that like some chubby kid on his computer is the one that's like really, he's got to be like 15.
Yeah.
Because you can't be a 30-year-old and be so immature. I mean, maybe you probably can. Actually.
Yeah.
I take that back. But you can't be so immature that you really buy into this whole like, oh man, like Sony is so great and they care about me, and Microsoft is so stupid.
Yeah. All they do is give people backwards compatibility and games passes. I hate that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like you can't really look at these two businesses and think that they're anything but businesses.
Well, I mean, they love us, and they would do
it. They physically love us, but
they're family, okay?
So back to our initial point.
Yeah. It was about Fire Emblem.
Yeah, so there is a system in place in this game. Maybe it was in the last game, I don't remember. But basically there's a stat bump for class upgrading.
Okay.
So if you choose to promote your class, any stats that are not at the baseline of that class will get immediately bumped up.
Oh, okay.
So let's say the base class of I don't know these numbers for sure, so let's say the base attack power for a knight class is like 10.
Okay.
And your soldier that you want to upgrade has 6 strength.
He goes up to 10 then?
He will go up to 10 by changing classes.
Oh.
So if you want to, and there's a random factor at play because there's randomness in these games.
Okay.
So there's if you level up to 20, if you get really lucky, you might get a path of stat boosts in your leveling up that makes it worth it.
Okay.
But again,
if you get more than that 10 though, is it worth waiting to get your soldier up till he's the highest he can get though? And then because that's how it was in the old games. I actually wouldn't mind it if it was just hey, you upgrade to the next class, it starts again.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know because old game you wanted to get to 20.
Right.
Reset because you get more stats.
Again, it matters in factors like, are you playing in hardcore mode?
Okay.
Or are you playing on hard, and are you playing without casual mode? Because obviously that means that the risk is very high. I don't think I've heard that there's a difficulty spike in the game, but I don't know how intense it is.
They don't let you pick what mode you want, easy, normal.
They do, absolutely. But he's saying there's some
stat maxing.
Okay.
The importance of it is lost probably on the normal mode. I don't know if there's an easy mode. I don't think there is. Because again, it's a lot of grinding. The game is very notorious where it's all right, you're making progress to level 10, and then at level 10, every kill is 2 experience to 100.
Oh my goodness.
Unless you play in higher end zones, and it's
But are you at least more powerful than everything, so you can just run through battles or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can mow through things with one or two of my characters, but it's
hard really? So you don't even need the whole army.
So I think I've decided that I don't care about the stat maxing because one, it seems to not matter in normal mode. 2, I really want to see the max classes, the overclasses. So I'm not going to level all 3 of these to 20 just to see one more class. It's going to take hours because it's not a fast grind. Even with the grind maps, it's not fast. So,
and if you can beat the whole game, what's the point really of getting your guys
and
to max?
And also, there is 2 armies in this game with several characters each.
Oh, wow. Okay.
What I would have preferred, and I don't know if they added a bunch of characters for this remake, or if simply this old game had this many characters as well. It's impressive, for sure, if it did. I would love, since there are 2 armies, for all of the recruitable characters to just be the max amount of people you can have at once.
Yeah.
So that you just never have to deal with oh, do I switch this guy in? And then there's also support relationships that you want to build up. So that's another thing you kind of have to grind. Where it's basically you make 2 people fight next to each other now.
Oh, okay.
There's no marriage and romance there is in old games.
Those are fun, but I don't need it every game because it takes a lot of time.
Right, and it's fun. The conversations that take place between the friendships and support building are fun because the characters are pretty cool for the most part. I've only encountered 2 characters.
Does getting married in these games do anything for you?
You can have kids.
Well, in Awakening, it's a pretty dang big deal. Is it in Fates?
I only played 5 missions in Fates and then I got over it. Man,
it's part of the plot of Awakening.
Okay, so, but it doesn't give you any stat boost or items or anything.
In Awakening, part of the plot twist, which if you guys haven't played,
I played till the point that
you eventually there's some time travel thing that happens where if people get married, their kids come and join your army.
And you can actually get kids with crazy stats if you marry the right people together. I think you're supposed to marry Donald with someone else, Donald, the character who's the weakest. Yeah, Donnell. And you marry him with a beast type character or something like that, if I remember. And then you get
Are we talking about bestiality?
Beast reality.
Yeah.
But no, I think you do that, and he gets the strongest kid character in the game, and then you level up that guy, and he's the most powerful. Yeah. I can't remember, but have you played anything else recently?
I think that is the only thing I've played this week.
I'm gonna skip you for a second. I have not played a ton. I just want to get that out there. I have played a lot of Rogue Legacy, which is awesome. I'm replaying through that. I have restarted character. I think I'm level 128. So you level up quick. Every time you buy a stat, you get another level, and you can buy multiple stats every time you die. But otherwise, I've just been chilling, playing that, and then playing a little Mario Kart when I get a chance. Anything you've been playing, Jank?
Who's this strange man that's interrupting us?
There you go, man. No worries.
How is Mario Kart? Is it worth the money? Like,
well, we talked about why we think it's not.
Yeah,
because there's no unlockables.
If I'm just looking for something to play on the Switch, is it?
Oh, do you have a lot of the indie games or no?
No, I've been.
Okay, there's lots of good indie games. There's a lot of good indie games I'd get over that. Like Shovel Knight. Have you ever played that?
No.
That's really good. That's a great game.
Okay.
That's on like every console, and Switch has the best one. Shantae came out today. I'm tempted to buy it, but yeah, dancing. But
is that what that is?
Well, she's like a...
No, Ashanti is a I think an R&B artist.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that song from when I was a kid. It's like...
Oh, I think you're talking because she's a belly dancer in the game.
No,
Shantae Half Genie Hero is like she's a half genie character. Anyways, it's like a Metroid-esque game. It seems like a platformer, but I'm tempted just to wait till next Tuesday when Nintendo will have its Direct, and I'm hoping they'll at least announce something coming out that day that will be worth getting.
Okay.
I still, in my deepest hearts, hold the hope that they're going to do a virtual console. We'll talk about that more during the news, why I don't think it will happen. But, yeah, so what have you been playing?
Oh, I haven't been playing a lot. I've been working on some other stuff. But I did go back and play... I didn't realize that I owned the Devil May Cry remaster on Xbox One.
DMC or Devil May Cry 4?
Definitive Edition, DMC.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a cool one. That's hipster.
I like it. Why did it
DMC?
like it dropped in price so fast? I didn't like.
Well, it's because it was already on 360. I mean, why were you like? I bought it for $10 on 360 or $5 on 360. Did you ever play that, Rick?
DMC?
Yeah.
No.
I got it for $20 on Xbox One. I played through it in like 4 hours. It was a pretty short game.
All right, yeah. I mean, it looked cool. I liked Devil May Cry 3 the most. That's like my favorite one. But did you ever play one?
No, I jumped on at 4.
4 was not. I did not like 4. I tried a little bit of 4, and I just didn't.
Nero was okay as a main character.
Nero, yeah. You don't play as Dante, do you?
You switch.
Okay.
Switch back and forth.
Yeah, I think Nero's always the brother, right?
No, he's not even related to Dante.
Okay, because you play as a brother in 3, I think. You play as him. We just getting some sweet tunes on. But yeah, anything else though you want to talk about before we get to the news?
That's it. I've been slacking on my game playing.
Well, I got to visit El Toileta. So we'll be back in a momento.
Ryan's got to poo everyone.
Badooch. Now I actually just got to pee.
If you're tired of sifting through flea markets for rare and unique games, we can help. Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada, only 5 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, has all your favorite gaming staples, classics, and a wide selection of rare games with new stuff always appearing on our shelves. Come in and chat with Nicole or Doug about your love of games and watch as they help you complete your collection or find your childhood favorite. And don't forget, Retro City Games loves trade-ins. So if you have any Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC games, come in and visit Retro City Games today. Welcome to the new metropolis of gaming, Retro City Games.
That is one of the many reasons.
To what?
Well, to the movie. But here,
what movie?
To the Mummy.
Boom!
They're doing a Mummy tie-in to the movie The Mummy?
A game.
Oh.
Coming to consoles and PC.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
It's the #1 game I'm looking forward to this year. Mummy Demastered. Hey, Badooch, we are back, and we're here to talk about all the sweet news that came this last week in preparation for something we like to call E3. We just came up with that, TM. So, any cool news that came out this week that you guys heard about?
Yeah. Let me try that again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of news this week. Exciting for me is that Radiant Historia, the remake, has been announced for a Western release.
Dang you, Nintendo! Bring it to 3DS!
You want them to bring it to 3DS?
I mean, sorry, Switch.
What was that?
Sorry.
Yeah, there's a list of games.
Yeah,
it was
3DS games.
It was
Switch.
Let's see, Etrian Odyssey
5. So
5.
Not enough. I want
Radiant Historia. What was the other
6.
game? Is it a Shin Megami game?
Yeah, Shin Megami. Yeah, I don't know which one is. It's not like the numbered ones, but it's like a spinoff.
But I'm really excited about that. I haven't really successfully gotten into a Shin Megami game, so
yeah,
I probably won't get into that. Nor will I probably play Etrian Odyssey.
Yeah.
I think I like those dungeon crawlers, but I'm just not enough into the aesthetic of those particular ones for me to want it. But Radiant Historia, I mean, I'll praise that game for all time, and then I'll travel back in time to go down the B path, praise it again, and complete my A and B paths.
Praise you,
and then have my final path and praise it.
Praise it more.
Praise it more. So
a lot of praise.
I gotta praise that. You know what's funny? If they release those games at the same time on Switch, I bet they would sell innumerable copies because there's 3 million Switch owners now, and like 5 games, 5 actual
realistically,
games,
they should have asked to be built, because it's clearly the game is not built for a Switch, because it is a 2-screen game, so they would have to redo it.
They'd have to redo some of it, but I think like most of the stat screens and stuff, like the bottom screen stuff.
I mean, the fighting, it could be done.
Yeah,
they would have to do
it
it
on the side or something like that.
If that game was, there's like a handful of games, like if that game was coming out to Switch, I would buy it.
And Secret of Mana Collection, which just came out in Japan, if that was coming out, that'd be awesome.
If they were going to give us that one, but they won't translate Seeking Densetsu 3.
Yeah,
it's so cool though.
How do they decide what games to bring over here and what games to not?
For that one, I think it's just they're not translated, so they're not, or one of the games isn't translated.
Just don't want to put the money into translating.
They don't even have to put money. They could probably just ask the fan translation guy if they could use his translation. He'd probably say yes, would be my guess. Yeah. A lot of people just do it because they love the games anyways. They just probably don't want to do any of the work. So the work would be.
I don't know if there was ever an official translation for that one, because a lot of those games that don't make it over here, like from the old RPGs, like the Super Nintendo, Ray Nintendo, a lot of them were like, it's been translated, we just didn't release it. Yeah. So like I think that's what happened with Mother, right?
So they just sit on it. Why?
Sometimes it's because of system. Like I think in the case of I'm trying to think of the game. Like I know, like I think, like for example, Star Fox 2, which is not just not translated; it was also never released.
Yeah,
was done, but the Nintendo 64 was coming out, so they didn't want to release another game on Super Nintendo, which is so interesting because of what they're doing with the 3DS, where it's like, oh, we have our new system out, but let's keep releasing games for other system.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
That's actually pretty fascinating when you think about that. It's a huge change of philosophy.
And what Dank's talking about real quick to fill up everyone in is there was a Pokemon Direct this last week, and not only were there the 3DS RPGs that we just mentioned, but everybody was waiting for it. It finally happened. Pokemon's coming to Switch. The crowd was going wild. Everybody was cheering them on, and then it was actually Pokken, which everybody wanted more. So everybody went wild and they loved it.
Did the audience go down?
I know that there was somebody, I read a comment like the night before, like, hey, I hope it's Pokemon on Switch because I have stocks in Nintendo and I hope they go up. That guy's sad because I doubt his stocks went up at all.
No.
It's so dumb. They keep releasing, there's going to be new Pokemon on 3DS in November. So we thought it was done at the end of the summer, but doesn't look like it.
There's what else has been news this week?
Final Fantasy Dissidia.
Oh yeah, for PS4 only. It was actually like an old game.
It's not the old Dissidia. It's one that they released I think a year or two ago specifically for arcades. Yeah. So it was a newly developed game because I don't think Team Ninja made the other ones.
No. Yeah, and I guess I keep forgetting Dissidia was like 8 years ago. I guess so. Yeah, this is a new game. I can't believe it's
what
like that long.
What is the story in this? Is this like how in Marvel versus DC,
these stories are pretty? The stories for these are pretty batshit. Yeah, it's almost the exact same. Basically, they've taken no matter what spin-off of Final Fantasy, whenever there's a Final Fantasy where multiple characters are involved, they always revert to the main bad guy from Final Fantasy 1, which is Chaos.
Oh, okay.
And or Garland sometimes, but usually Chaos.
See the guy that looks like Ifrit that I saw in the trailers?
Maybe. Not quite like Ifrit though. He's way more like. I'll see if I can find a picture for you while I'm talking about him. But they always go into, even like the rhythm games. It's always like the balance between light and like chaos and light or whatever is like. Yeah. So there's like the light goddess and then there's chaos. There's always they always like pull the crystal card.
Oh, he's asking if it's this guy. I think.
I don't think that's Chaos.
You're asking if it's this.
Yeah.
No. I'll show you what Chaos looks like. He looks like a giant demon from Doom, but with wings.
But
The mechanics of, at least, I think Duodecim Dissidia, the second one, the prequel.
Yeah, the sequel.
The stories are pretty inane. But I mean, they are the root. They don't need to be anything else, because the root of those games is simply the fact that you are playing a fighting game with Final Fantasy characters and you're beating each other up. Like, I mean,
the gameplay looked cool because I saw you run around and stuff. Like, it's not just a side.
It's like a Power Stone-esque fighter. What the previous games were 1v1, right? I think it was you had played one guy, because I only played the first one. That was 1v1. I never played Duodecim or whatever.
I don't remember. It's been
because this
years.
one's a 3v3, which is very different. Like, this is like Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah, but in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it's not 3v3 at the same time.
I don't know if this is 3v3 at the same time either. Isn't it like a tag team 3v3?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really read on it.
I didn't get checked.
He looks something like this. I mean, this is I think this is the Tetsuya Nomura version, so the slightly cheesier version, but...
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I don't know if I'll buy it. I might get it on like a sale at some point. I kind of don't... I mean, I don't entirely understand why they don't bring these games to Xbox. I know why they don't bring them to Switch. I still think it's dumb. I still think you degrade the graphics, put it on more stuff, you sell a lot more copies, but...
What sold more though, like Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox or on Sony?
I assume the PlayStation one, just because they have 60 million consoles out there.
Did they sell enough on Xbox to justify making more Final Fantasy?
Probably. Let me see. I'll check. Keep talking about it, but I'm gonna check that out real quick. I bet if they even sold more than 1 million copies, that's $60 million.
Yeah.
I bet that was worth the development to put on just Xbox, because they're not that radically different.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like. Was Series Last Chance had low sales target. I guess on a PlayStation thing, they said that Final Fantasy 15 has sold 6 million total. So it's kind of really hard to see what the actual sales are for each one. People just say, "Oh, PlayStation."
How old is that article though?
That was March 4th.
Okay.
This December 6th one was saying that the PlayStation sold. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's 79%.
I wouldn't disbelieve
but
that.
But that's
entirely.
UK, so that's not all.
So Dissidia, though, is it worth playing? Worth me buying?
Yeah, if you have a PlayStation 4, I mean, you can wait for any one of the 3 games that Sony continually announces at E3 to come out someday. But
speaking of E3, did you know?
But yeah, I would say Dissidia is a fun time.
Yeah.
I love.
Mostly, I think Final Fantasy Explorers, which I recently played, is probably the most disappointing Final Fantasy spin-off I've ever played.
Okay.
And disappointing because the 3DS doesn't have a camera. The camera's not fun, and it's a loot grinder, so there's no progression other than getting better items, and it's just not for me. So I can't even really comment on whether or not it's a good game, because it's a style of game that I really don't care for.
To real quick go back to Final Fantasy 15 sales and to GameFAQs earlier, I ended up on a GameFAQs article to find the sale. It says, a guy wrote something that was worth sharing, where it says, breaking news, JRPG game sells better on a Japanese console with a 2-to-1 install base than a console with 0 Japanese presence. And then he wrote at the end, goes back to enjoying Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox One. So there's a lot of people who got it. I think they're going to keep Kingdom Hearts 3 coming to Xbox One. I wouldn't be surprised if Final Fantasy 7, because even if it sells 2-to-1, so they sold 6 million. So even if it sells 1.5 million, like I said, that's more than $60 million. And even if they sold them at $40, that's still 50, 60 million, And I know they need a lot, but my guess is their budget was $400 million. I know it was high because it was so long, but I mean,
I hope they've built a tool set that's usable for Final Fantasy 16, maybe even 17.
I hope they did too, but they were supposed to do the same thing with 13, and we saw that's why we got 2 sequels to 13, is because they built that engine. They had nothing to use it on.
So what are the odds you think we'll see a 15.2 at E3?
I don't know. I just don't want them to keep doing DLC. I want them to move on to the next thing. Or if they do DLC, I want it to be radically huge.
15 doesn't really end in a way that... But that being
said... 13, though.
13 totally ended in a way there could be a sequel. They just undid the ending so they could make a worse sequel. 13 may have ended in in the setup for the best possible sequel,
And then they didn't do it.
and they were like, let's make a different ending and make a worse sequel. Like 13 literally ended because everyone complained. I think I've already talked about this on this podcast before, but 13 ended.
Not talking about enough.
I really can't. I'm so sore because I thought Lightning Returns was a pretty okay game, but that's like saying like, oh, I paid $1,000 at this restaurant for really terrible food, but at least dessert was good.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not really that great, but it is so much better than 13-2. But 13 ends with two characters sacrificing themselves and humanity finding itself on a planet that they haven't been on in like 1,000 years or something. Spoilers for the 3 people that haven't played Final Fantasy 13 before that will actually play it one day.
If they listen to us, they're probably
and they literally end there with a whole new planet to explore the mysteries of, which is like the antithesis of like the corridor complaints of the first game, where it's like, oh, it's constantly on rails, you're just like one pathway, there's nothing to do, that kind of thing. And instead they're like, well, we're not going to make this like open world, explore this new world. I mean, there could be ancient evils they might awaken. There could be like, who knows what you could discover on this new planet. Like instead, what if the ending never happened? And then you have to travel through time, not to open world areas, just to the same kind of like one-dimensional areas, but you can pick which order you want to go to them in.
Whoa.
And
you collect monsters.
Yeah. And then it's just I think I've already mentioned this as well, but I actually legitimately laughed out loud at the ending to that game.
13-2, right?
13-2.
And isn't it like a 45-minute ending or something like that you said? Like a really long, like...
It's and then basically all that happens is the main girl dies.
Yeah.
And it's
and
like...
the sister, right, Sarah?
Yeah. And it's like when she died, I was like so flabbergasted at that entire game. And then that happened, I like laughed.
It makes the whole game pointless. Like...
It doesn't make the whole game pointless because they're setting up Lightning Returns, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like...
to undo the stuff that they did in 13.
I feel like some like Japanese dude that wrote that story like had a really bad philosophy teacher and has a lot of like angst build up and just wrote the worst story I've ever experienced in my life in a game. That is the worst one. Is 13-2.
13-2. Yeah, Lightning Returns looked cool, and I played the demo and I enjoyed it. The only thing I couldn't stand, and we've talked about this before, is they took out experience in battles. So you saw the battle, but you could only get experience and level up through doing quests, right?
There is more to it than that.
But it's just so frustrating. Why would you take that out? The battling was fun.
If you played through the game, though, I don't think you'd be as frustrated by that mechanic because it's not like...
The game only lasts like 12 or 13, 24 hours. You have a timer, right?
You have a timer, but it's pretty easy to extend your timer to the point where you never reach the end of it because you are... awaken, like you're like saving people from, because basically what happens is that they've screwed over the whole universe and story so much. So much.
Is it like everyone evil now or something like that?
It's so funny because what happens when Sarah dies is this thing called chaos takes over.
Oh,
and
back to chaos.
Yeah, and so it's like
now it all ties together.
And they oh man, it's so crazy. But I gotta stop laughing for a second about it. But again, there's like pretty cool lore there with like the gods and like this cybernetic moon planet that humanity lives on, and then this giant like 20 times the size planet that no one's lived on forever, or there's like few inhabitants or something like that. And there's like...
Is that Pulse?
Yeah, that's Grand Pulse and stuff. It's like there's so much set up, and instead they're like, well, we screwed all this up because the universe is going to collapse with chaos, so Lightning now has to go and save people that are her friends from dying, from being lost to chaos forever. So she has to save their souls because everyone's part of making chaos worse and worse. But everything is like in some crazy Alice in Wonderland world where it's like things are not connected, everything's divided by darkness, you have to like travel to places and save people, like literally completing a quest, like someone is saved and then they like disappear or something, or they don't disappear, I forget, it doesn't matter. But all of that is to save people for the end of the game when you basically reboot the entire universe and then it just turns into like the normal world. Yeah, like the ending of the game is Lightning boarding a train to go visit her sister, in regular, like, they wanted, you know what they wanted is, because there was that phase where like high fashion was using lightning as like a 3D
the Louis
model.
Vuitton.
So that's what they did. It's like she gets on a train with her like Louis Vuitton clothes and is like, things are different now. Like, it's the normal world, so I don't have superpowers and I have to charge my iPhone, and like, it's not that, but it's basically like the world is rebooted without any fantasy or science fiction elements, so it's just mundane.
And hooray! We took out everything.
Man, they should go back and retcon their 13-2.
Yeah, well, we'll get a reboot of 13, the whole series. Final Fantasy announces instead of 16, they're going to redo 13.
I would get behind a redone 13-2 with the actual sequel that they should have made. And I know that some nerds...
What would they call it?
I've read nerds before talk about how, like, if you read the index or what's it called? Codex. Okay. There's like tons of things about how in order to have saved everyone in 13, this goddess had to like break some universal law, and that's why chaos is breaking. It's like, but you know what? You could just, the guy that made up the world just go, oh, that's not true. Like, I mean, that's what they did with everything else. So it's like, oh no, she just saved everyone because she's a goddess. Like, it's all good. And then now explore this world, Well, maybe awaken some ancient power where some dickhole human is like, I'm gonna control this, and I'm gonna control humanity on this new. There's like so many things they could do with an open world exploring the world game.
But they didn't want to do that.
No, they didn't want to do that.
So speaking of chaos, we're about to come on to the most chaotic time in history for gamers. We are 3 days away. 3 days? Press conferences start on Sunday. Saturday is E3's like E3 Play.
Yeah.
Or E3. EA. Sorry.
Yeah, EA has a thing.
But it's called. They don't do press conferences anymore. So it's just like a play. So we've kind of talked about what we want to see from Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo. What do you guys want to see from Bethesda? They're the first non-console maker. They're Sunday night.
Do you know what I could get behind on Bethesda?
New Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls Online for the Switch.
Why?
I don't know.
You could just play that. I mean, not that I'm against that. I want any games to come to the Switch, like all go, but I own it. I'm not going to play it, so I guess I could do it.
I don't know.
Have you played that game?
No.
Okay, what? I don't want to spend this time ranting on it. Play it.
Okay.
They have lots of free play weekends. Just try it out.
Okay.
They added classes to the game. Classes do not work well in an Elder Scrolls game. It just feels very constrictive.
This is a very debatable point that Brian feels very strongly
about. Okay, well, let's anyways. So talk about something else cool and not some terrible idea.
Let me just sidetrack really fast. I want to make clear my reason for such unending passion and anger towards the 13 trilogy is because I was pretty frustrated with Square after 12 because of the way they treated its initial director and the changes they made. The game has a pretty unbalanced final third. It's a great game. Yeah. I freaking love it. But you can tell that it's the same thing. It's the problem with same problem with Mass Effect. Like you can tell that something happened in the middle of development where they're like, oh, well, scrap that. Let's do this. Yeah. And then the guys making the game are like, what the hell is your problem, bosses? And like the game suffers for it. So at
least the beginning of 12 was fun, whereas the beginning of Andromeda, I can't even get myself to get through.
It's a way different scale game, of course. But I was starting to lose a lot of faith in Square at that point. And then also Lost Odyssey came out, which was amazing.
Awesome.
So it's like,
Lost Odyssey was awesome.
So. And I was like, okay, so I guess I don't need Square to like count on really good RPGs for. I just need these guys or something. But 13, like they put it on Xbox. So I was like, okay, we're off Sony's teeth a little bit here because they're
that was a pretty huge announcement too.
Yeah, because they're a pretty toxic company at that time. That was like the $7,000 PlayStation 3 era, where it's like
$700 or whatever.
Where it's like I was over that, and then. I know the complaints about the corridors and all that kind of stuff, but try as hard as I could. I couldn't hate 13. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed pretty much the entire game. I love the environments and the corridor places, so it didn't really bother me. I thought the dude that did the music had a really great take on a Final Fantasy style score, and that dude has a very unique style. Like he did the soundtrack to Legend of Legacy and a bunch of other games where it's like when I hear his music, I'm like, oh,
it's not Yoko Shimomura, is it?
No, she did 15.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she also has like a very distinct sound. Like when I listen to 15, even when I'm hearing like rehashed Final Fantasy melodies, from like older games, which there isn't a ton of, but like the music, the way it's the piano drivenness of it, very much sounds like her. Like if you listen to the Radiant Historia soundtrack or the Legend of Mana soundtrack, there's definitely a distinct style. And the guy that did 13 has that same characteristic, where it's a very distinct style. So I liked it. So that's why I'm so mad at 13 too, because it was like, don't make me like this and then ruin it.
Speaking of Final Fantasy, before we get back to Bethesda, they are not doing a press conference this year. Square Enix, I believe, did one last year, so this is a very strange.
Did they? I thought they just announced.
They usually tie their stuff into like Sony or
Microsoft. Yeah, one year they did both. They did Final Fantasy 15 trailers for PlayStation and Microsoft. I could have swore Square Enix had its own press conference previously. But anyways, okay. So what do you want to see that's not Elder Scrolls Online? And I want to ask you the same question. At Bethesda.
Honestly, I have nothing.
Really?
I'm not a huge Fallout fan. I'm curious to see what their new IP is, because they showed that map where everything's under construction.
Yeah,
because I'm curious to see what that is.
But two new IPs.
Two new IPs. I'm curious to see what they are. But like, I would like to see. I just like Elder Scrolls, like the main thing I like by Bethesda.
A lot of people are mentioning that they may do something similar to New Vegas. So like another Fallout done by another studio, which could be cool. I definitely do not want to go back. I want to go to another like green place. Like Boston was not very green. It was kind of pretty boring.
I mean, it's a nuclear wasteland. There's green's
then take me out of a nuclear wasteland. All right, so what do you want to see from Bethesda?
I would love to see exactly that, but under the conditions that it's from Obsidian, because
I just don't think they're gonna.
Do you know what I'd love
Obsidian's
to see?
busy nowadays.
Fallout Under the Sea and have it called BioShock.
Oh shoot!
Oh man, nobody's ever done that, man.
But I can't think of a single company that I would trust with a Fallout game, because Bethesda already does like a bad enough job. I mean, they make great games with kind of a hollowed out version of the Fallout like universe.
Yeah.
It's like not, and you can tell that with Fallout 4 they took some of that into consideration, where it's like, this is supposed to be kind of funny and there's like stuff here, but it's just it's like they had like the boardroom version of like, where it's like, okay, like the EA version of a game, like, well, nerds are gonna want it to be really funny and dark, so does anyone know how to do funny and dark humor? Oh, I mean, isn't it just like saying like something dies and it's funny, right? Like it's like they didn't. It's like it was like a, what's the word, focus group version of Fallout. So it was better than 3 in the universe sense. But I would love to see another like New Vegas style Fallout game written by people that had at least had a hand. Chris Avallone, I think, is not at Obsidian anymore. I think he's like freelance. So I bet he could.
I think he's working on another project.
He is, but I'm sure if they roped another company into doing it, they could like hire him out to at least. I mean, he created the Fallout Bible, that would be killer. But otherwise, my dream, Bethesda, if you're listening, my dream of all dreams, and BioWare, I would have entrusted this to you at some point, but no longer. Yeah. Back in the news, we'll talk about that in a sec. I would love to see a reboot of the Arcanum universe.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the steampunk one.
Yeah, but it's not steampunk like Victorian England, like Dishonored, like it's...
No, but I believe like, they actually had a subtitle or something like that. Arcanum.
Of magic and steel, obscura, something like that.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. You're also jank pick.
It is a PC game.
It's an old game, but it's like back when they did computer.
But here's the thing: this is a steampunk game.
Did you build stuff, or did you actually like go? No.
It was all base building.
Whatever.
It's just base building. There's actually saving settlers.
So this is the game. It's set in like a fictionalized America.
Yeah. Okay.
It's cool. It is a steampunk game where it is not like the typical like over the top goofy British steampunk, which is fun.
Yeah.
Not like what you'd see at like the Portlandia sketch where it's the steampunk cosplay. But it's more like, what if like a fantasy world with orcs and elves and half orcs and hobbits and all that kind of stuff just evolved to the frontier age of America. Yeah. So it's like there's orcs, there's a bunch of races to choose from. It is in the frontier, so if you wander in the forest, you might get attacked by wolves. There is trains. There is like pistols. There is a battle between magic and technology, of course. The music is all string quartet, written by this dude Ben something, and it's one of the best video game scores to this day. I would say it's undebatable if you've actually heard it. It's amazing.
All right.
Ben Houch.
Ben Houch.
Or Huge or whatever it's
it has one of the best, like, it's just some of the best, most somber, like, musical themes. It's so good. The game has, like, it's made by Sierra, I believe, which is now, so I think the IP is probably owned by someone like Bethesda. I feel like whoever bought Sierra, I forget, but
I'm looking at that too right now. Activision Blizzard owns it. So,
well,
but here's the thing, though. Real quick on that, I think I could imagine in Exile doing that. So I don't think Bethesda would.
I think In Exile could do that in the same way that In Exile probably there's a lot of people that 10 years ago, before Fallout 3 was announced, would have wanted a company like Obsidian or In Exile to make Fallout 3.
Yeah.
To make a game like that. But what I'm saying is that the Arcanum universe would be so amazing as a Bethesda-style,
like first-person
exploring game,
that'd be cool.
Or as a BioWare-style, like Dragon Age Mass Effect game, because that definitely hasn't been done. Like a steampunk game that's a more tame version of steampunk.
That's because BioWare only does 2 games now: fantasy and sci-fi,
right.
Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
What I'm saying is that I would give. Like I would give anything to see that universe brought back, because it's like steampunk without the cheese.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just cool.
I would like to see a Fallout game, and this isn't my prediction, but back to what you were saying. I want to see a Fallout game, because you mentioned the focus testing, and I didn't want to interrupt, but I want to see a game where they take out the base building, because I hated that, and they take out the survivors that you need to save, because I hated that, and they reduce the load times, because I hated that. And then I would love that game, because I liked Fallout 4 for 20 hours, but after that I just got so sick of waiting a minute and a half to load, because I had to go to this place to save these people who kept dying, because I didn't have the resources to build up enough machine guns to go save them always.
As an aside, because I know the Arcanum thing wouldn't happen, the reason why I think it could is because of Fallout. I mean, specifically, like that's a universe, not obscure, but a.
And we've seen games like Torment.
Yeah.
So we've seen
bringing
stuff from
back
the past
these old IPs that are actually great. But my actual aside is that I'm ready for Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see that this year, and I hope they do not announce it unless it's coming out this year. Yeah. Like there's so many games right now where it's like Shenmue 3, if you guys just read, that was delayed to next year. Not that I was super excited.
That's what Sony does.
But and that's what Sony does. And I'm sick of that. Stop showing me games if they're nowhere near done. Like I don't need to be on a hype train for 15 months, you know? Like,
I mean, the hype train is necessary for certain things.
Oh my god!
I feel like with Elder Scrolls, though, it'd be nice to just know that it's coming.
It is coming though. Like you don't need to know that it is coming. Like
I guess that's my hope. It's the same with Dragon Age 4, which is what I really want to see. Like, I want to know that it's coming soon.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
And if it's not coming soon, they don't need to show me anything, because I don't want to be like, oh man, Elder Scrolls 6, because like Red Dead Redemption 2, they did that this year, and it's like that was the stupidest thing ever. Okay, it's coming out fall 2017. Everybody's like, no, it's not. And now it's delayed already. March 2018. It's like, why'd you even waste your time showing like this to us?
Like that's why I'm glad that Square's not doing a conference, because I don't really want to see a bunch of pictures of Kingdom Hearts 3
in 2020 or whatever.
We've already talked about it. It's like, all right, like, I mean, it's so funny because that game was so impactful to me as a 14-year-old.
You're talking about 7, right? Not
no, I'm talking about Kingdom Hearts. 7 was more impactful to me as a 12-year-old and like 12 through whatever.
Yeah.
But Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 specifically, like, were pretty definitive for my like junior high and high school years. And then now it's like I'm gonna be playing Kingdom Hearts 3 when I'm 30.
Maybe even later than that. Now
it's funny because
I'm gonna be like,
what I'm saying
is
it's just so interesting because Square, they have to count on the will of the man children.
Yeah.
So like the people that are like in their early 20s and stuff like that somehow just like the people that are interested in theoretically what is basically a kid's game.
Yeah.
Like enough,
which
because
I am and we are,
exactly.
But it's still
to buy it, and they have to work on they have to capture like a whole new generation of people with it. Because I'm gonna play it and probably love it. Maybe we'll see. We'll see.
Well,
what,
I mean,
we'll see
I love Disney crossover stuff as long as they don't go too in their own butt like they did at the end of 2. But I still enjoyed 2. So
Yeah.
as long as they don't make it as confusing as you needed to play all 30 games between that and remember all their stories perfectly, I'm okay. You know?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it's what is it? So there's like the Heartless, there's the Nobodies, there's the Unversed. I'm waiting for the
And they're all like parts of one person. We can't go into the lore right now because it is way too stupid and way too long.
Yeah.
But real quick about Kingdom Hearts before we get back onto one last Bethesda thing before we end. I hope that after 3, if they do continue this, because I do like the idea of making mashups, I hope they just reboot it. I don't need any more Sora story. I don't even want the same any stories in there. I want it like totally thrown out. Even if they make it just instead of going to different worlds, you go to one giant world that has different zones that have different Disney things.
Yeah,
that's cool. They can't continue Kingdom Hearts numbered games. They
right,
are
because
too
again,
stupid.
Like when Kingdom Hearts 1 came out, I was roughly the same age as Sora. So it was like, it was like such an inspiring thing. We're like, oh, this is so cool. I'm like a 15-year-old doing this thing. And then now it's like Sora's gonna be 17 in Kingdom Hearts 3 and I'm gonna be 30. I'm like I don't.
And plus, there are some people like in some of Square's games, like they have kids who are old enough to play these games by the time the development cycle's over.
Yeah,
right. I mean, that's why. I honestly think that's a huge part of. I mean, you could talk about the degradation of quality, but I think in the U.S., I think that's a huge reason why a lot of the like the Bethesda style RPGs, the BioWare style RPGs, those kind of things took such a huge leap over like the JRPGs.
Yeah.
Because it's like everyone that grew up loving those games also got older. It's like I don't care to play like an annoying 18-year-old again. Like I'm not, it's like
Amnesiac, like every JRPG did for like 30 years, like
every non-Square is pretty good at not having too many Amnesiacs.
They had a few, but it wasn't like super bad. I almost would rather have the story where you don't even know anything and they don't ever address the character's amnesiac than just like have another amnesiac.
I mean, even Lost Odyssey is technically an amnesiac.
Yeah, but that was good.
But see, he's like a grizzled dude. He's got to be in his 30s. Like,
and it was a twist. He was immortal.
They handled it well.
Yeah,
well, it wasn't just wake up on. You're not playing a kid, so it's like I don't want to play like an 18-year-old kid who forgets that he has superpowers and then fights 12-year-old army generals. Yeah. So it's like. Yeah, but anyway.
So we only have about 15 minutes. I want to do real quick predictions this time instead of what we want to see. I want to go through each of the press conferences. We each make 2 to 3 predictions, okay? Just like quick stuff. So Bethesda, tell me what you expect them to do.
What I expect them? They'll do something related to Fallout.
Okay.
And they'll talk about their new IPs and maybe, if we're lucky, something related to Elder Scrolls, whether it's online or a numbered.
Okay. I'm expecting from Bethesda new Wolfenstein. It's been long enough. I heard the last one did well. Dishonored 2 DLC. And 1 new IP announcement. I don't know if anything else.
I thought there were supposed to be 2 IP announcements.
There's 2 IPs in there under construction. I don't know if we're going to get both. Because there's also, I don't want to say more, but Evil Within is supposed to maybe be there as well.
Have they bought any more studios?
I don't know. I don't know. They're not like publicly. So they might have built their own,
Yeah, Brink 2.
Brink 2. So what do you think? Like just a couple things. Even if the same as what we think.
Yeah, I basically agree. New Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if Evil Within, now that you mention it, wasn't.
That might be done. It might be like here this year for all we know.
Yeah. My prediction is a good surprise. Like I think Bethesda knows that they don't have. There's so little unless they make Arcanum.
Yeah.
There's so little that they could do to really wow people with a new IP that wouldn't still upset people for not delivering on what people want, which is Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
So I am anticipating a surprise announcement of some kind. Whether even it's just like a classic Sony style like black screen with a 6 pop-up, for Elder Scrolls 6.
They might do that.
And then we won't hear about it again until next E3. Like even that, I'm expecting.
So Microsoft, give us predictions for them. Actually, it would have been Microsoft first, but let's do this real quick.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Microsoft much.
We did talk about them last week. We did Microsoft, Sony, and what we want to see, what we thought. But I want to give predictions just so for all of our listeners, they know what weird thing is going to happen. So they hold us to it.
Man, I don't know. I'm cautiously worried and optimistic, I guess, for Microsoft. There's obviously they have made an attempt to have, some measure of like success, like interesting E3s.
Yeah.
I would be surprised. We're obviously going to hear a lot about Scorpio.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So that's one.
I don't really want to hear a lot about a new system if there's not going to be new games for it. So,
yeah.
Phil Spencer has reiterated that he knows that they need to start building their library. Like they need freaking games. Yeah. So if they don't have like a very games focused E3, it's going to be a pretty big blow and a bummer. I think I think that the problem with Microsoft is that they announce a lot of really interesting and like forward-looking ideas, but people don't really want them because Sony's pretty regressive and that's what they want. So it's like...
So your prediction is Scorpio and then...
Scorpio, augmented reality.
Okay.
And hopefully games.
Games. What, any game in mind that you're predicting they'll announce?
No, but if I'm wishing, it's going to be a new Mistwalker game.
Okay. My predictions are Sea of Thieves this year, Crackdown 3 this year, and I don't really care about State of Decay, but State of Decay this year. State of Decay 2, I mean. What about you?
I know Scorpio, augmented reality. I'm going to say Crackdown this year. I don't know about Sea of Thieves.
You don't think Sea of Thieves? It's been in the burner for 3 years.
Oh, my prediction.
Yeah.
Fable and Scalebound Reborn.
You think so?
They
Okay.
renewed their trademark, number one.
I was about to go there too.
You guys are playing with fire, okay? When all of our viewers listen.
Some kind of Fable announcement.
Here's my unfortunate prediction.
Yeah.
My unfortunate prediction is that Scalebound Reborn is gonna, or whatever it is not gonna be made by Platinum.
Okay. Oh, by somebody else.
They're taking the IP and the base game and transferring it. That I think is a terrible idea. But because I mean that's like
Square Enix had to do that recently with Final Fantasy as well. And it might be a better idea to save them millions of dollars if Platinum never finishes their game.
The problem is that Platinum is a very unique studio. And that
they have a B and an A team, but
they do have teams. But what I'm saying is that Platinum in the studio itself is a studio that people expect interesting from.
Yeah.
And so like if Square told me they shuffled around the team for Final Fantasy or something like that, I'd be like whatever. Like they're like such a big company, who cares? But like if I was told that like Scalebound was moving from Platinum to just like some team that Microsoft owns, Platinum has a unique vision, a unique voice, unique people there, and they've established that through their track record. Even with their lesser good, like they're not as great games.
Well, they have some bad ones too, like Legend of Korra, but
exactly. There's still something going on. There's still something in their water that makes them Platinum.
They're a Japanese company. They do cool and unique things
too. Yeah.
Hey, so those are yours. Let's get to Sony. What do you think for Sony?
I think they're next. God of War for sure.
We'll skip Devolver. I don't even think you guys know much about Devolver.
I think that if they bring back Fable.
So for Microsoft.
Yeah, I think if they bring back Fable, then it's going to be it'll obviously be a new studio.
Okay.
I think they probably closed Lionhead for the same.
They probably got all the good people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they probably evaluated like, okay, most of the good people are gone.
Yeah.
Most of the vision of Lionhead is gone. Now it's kind of like Rare, it's like a shell company,
and they know like how valuable Fable is, like,
right? But so that's kind of the bit where it's like Lionhead is a name, just like my analogy again is always back to music, where it's like if Apple Records decided to make a new Beatles album, but there's no Beatles on it, it's like that's kind of the mentality we have with games a lot of times, where it's like this company is going to make a new Fable game, even though it's not any of the same people. I mean, this is why Mass Effect is dumb, or is bad, because I just read that huge article that Jason Schreier wrote about the development of Andromeda, and it was clearly it's made by the B team that had no experience on Mass Effect. They brought in a guy that made Spider-Man games to lead it. Yeah. This is why Mass Effect Andromeda was bad. BioWare is only as good as the people that make up BioWare. So my thought is that they probably have a first-person studio that they've cooked up or a first-party studio that cooked up with Fable veterans, or at least more talented people than what was left at Lionhead.
Right.
That'd be cool. So actually, it's Ubisoft next. So give us a couple predictions.
Assassin's Creed, Far Cry. Yeah. I'm not predicting anything new from them. I think that's going to be there too.
And they're already announced for October, so same predictions. I'm going to predict Fractured Butthole will not come out this year. I hope it does. I have a feeling it will be pushed Not at E3, but later.
Like
and
a February or March release.
Yeah, probably. That's what they did for Stick of Truth.
Yeah, I can see it.
And then I predict that we're gonna get another thing. Did they do Unravel or was that EA? No, that was EA. We're gonna get something else like Grow Home, which they did, like a small indie game that they make that's like $10, really cool, but not like a full game. Any predictions you have for Ubi?
Unfortunately,
Ubisoft.
more Assassin's Creed is my prediction, but I think it's time for a new Rayman. So
That'd be cool. I hope it comes out like soon.
Hey, well, we do have the Rabbids Mario game.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
Nintendo.
almost positive they're gonna have like a total edgelord Tom Clancy game.
Oh
so
yeah, they'll probably have one of those.
something new that really ties into the political environment.
A new Splinter
We don't have
Cell.
enough politics in our lives.
Yeah.
We need more games.
And then I'm predicting, obviously there's Far Cry 5, which is exciting.
Yeah, that's cool.
I would love for them to say, hey, I know that we have really miffed Assassin's Creed, so that whole Assassin's Creed Egypt was a lie. We're actually making a sequel to the really awesome cel-shaded Prince of Persia, which is better.
That'd be cool.
Oh.
That would be a good prediction.
Hey, we're overdue.
They start with an Assassin's Creed trailer and they say, not, and then it cuts
He
to...
takes off his hood and it's the Prince of Persia.
Oh, man. Because it's funny because that one Prince of Persia game is so cool, and then the rest of them have been stinkers since because they're too mummy reboots.
Yeah, they're
serious.
Like,
the colors in that last Prince of Persia game were.
And that trailer was awesome too. It was like a Sigur Rós song, and I just remember seeing that and being like, what? This is like the coolest looking thing.
Yeah. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I had another prediction for Ubisoft. That was Tom Clancy game.
Rabbits.
More rabbits.
Beyond Good and Evil, maybe?
Oh, they already announced that that's never gonna happen.
Okay.
At least not this E3. I mean,
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't understand what the holdup is with that game. I mean, is it like
Michael Michel Ancel or whatever his name is?
Unless they've literally they're like only one man can work on this game.
Yeah. Maybe he's part owner or something like that. Maybe he owns the rights to the game, so he won't let them do it without him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't really know what it is. I mean, it's such like a fan. It's so clamored for, but Ubisoft is like on its way to become EA Activision.
Yeah.
Style, so we're getting there. You know.
What do you predict for Sony?
I predict more games that aren't ever going to come out anytime soon.
No release dates.
I predict the internet having multiple orgasms.
They won all E3s for the history of time.
Yeah.
I do predict for them, God of War will come out.
This is going to happen. Microsoft's going to be like, hey, you can return digital games.
Yeah.
How convenient is that?
Yeah.
And then Sony's going to be like, we think we only sell digital games that are good enough to keep. And they're going to be like, oh, man.
Yeah, why would I ever want to be able to return this stuff?
Why would I ever want to, like, something super aggressive? But yeah, I think we'll see whatever games they announce that haven't come out that they've been re-announcing for years. I'm sure we'll see like a remake of them, like that. What's that dungeon one, Down or something?
Oh, Deep Down, Capcom game.
Yeah.
That's Dragon's Dogma.
I'm sure we will see like a completely redone version of that first game.
Yeah, that might just be in the hole. I think it's out in Japan, so I don't know if it will ever come out here.
It is?
I think so.
I thought that game never came out.
I'm not sure. But okay, so I'm thinking they're going to release one game this fall. I'm hoping it's God of War. It does seem too soon for that, but their other options are really bad. I think, like you said, I think we're going to see they're all their same games, no release dates. And I think we're going to see... I don't think we're going to see any VR stuff, or if so, one game most. And I don't think we're going to see any Vita stuff besides just the guy coming out and saying, like, this indie game will also be on Vita.
Yeah,
like he does.
Deep Down's not out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, whatever. They're going to do the same thing they've been doing the last few E3s. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but those are my predictions that they will not do anything
Think we'll see PlayStation Move?
What do you mean? Oh, you mean the VR stuff? Oh my goodness. So what's your predictions for Sony?
God of War. I want to see more of that. What was that zombie game that they showed
Days
us?
Gone?
Days Gone.
But your prediction is to see God of War or for it to get a release date or what?
They'll give it a release date.
Okay.
Fall. I'm predicting.
Okay, and then what else?
We'll see Days Gone. Hopefully a fall release date.
Okay.
We'll see some sort of VR something.
I think we'll see a game.
And I think Sony's going to get some kind of console exclusivity.
Yeah, of course they're going to do that. For every big game, they'll be like, Red Dead Redemption will only have multiplayer on PS for 1 month. And
I'm predicting during the Sony conference, they will show the Final Fantasy VII Remake at some point.
You're probably right. Again, another stupid thing. Okay, so Nintendo, go. Give us 3 predictions.
Super Mario Odyssey, they'll update us at least.
Because that's coming out this year. We already know. Okay, prediction.
The Rabbids game.
Okay, yeah, we know that.
Yeah.
Playing it real safe, huh?
I don't want to predict anything from Nintendo because I don't know what to think. Like,
I'm just making predictions, and then
Zelda DLC.
Yeah, all of those are confirmed. Okay.
Yes.
I predict we will get a surprise announcement. I'm hoping it's either the Virtual Console or Pokemon Stars, but I think we will see one of those as like a it's a big surprise. I predict that we're going to see Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I have a feeling it will be postponed to next year. And I have a feeling I predict also we will see at least 2 more Wii U games being remastered for the Switch. Maybe Smash, maybe Mario Maker.
Do you think
I'm hoping Tokyo Mirage or Donkey Kong.
Do you think they'll date the Elder Scrolls Switch?
Oh, Skyrim. Yeah. Well, yeah, here you can predict that if you want, but that's for sure. That's going to come out this fall, I think. What do you think for Nintendo?
I predict a new set of games only for the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, just bring it back.
Makes sense.
The games that people want too.
I predict. No, I don't know what I really predict. Nintendo. I mean, this is the thing.
Wild card.
They're in a lot of ways they're all wild cards because Sony doesn't have to do anything for them to be loved.
Yeah.
Microsoft
literally keep a blank state.
Microsoft has just such a hard time actually doing what it already knows it needs to do.
Yeah.
And then Nintendo doesn't know anything about anything. So it's like all I really want to see are good games that are convenient for me to play. Like this is why I don't PC game because like I freaking don't have the bandwidth to just like dial in the settings all the time. So I'm not interested. So it's like
put a game in and play it.
So it's like I haven't been in the only Sony exclusive game that has looked remotely appealing to me in the last 10 years has been Horizon Zero Dawn. So
it looked cool.
I don't like Walking Dead, so Last of Us did nothing for me. Yeah. I don't like Indiana Jones, so Uncharted looks stupid to me.
Man, I love Indiana Jones.
I do like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, but I can understand not wanting to play Uncharted. But I do love Indiana Jones.
This is true. I should take that back. I do like Indiana Jones. Yeah. I don't think Uncharted looks fun at all.
It's including Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Primarily Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I mean, I didn't think the series really hit its stride until Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So if Sony announces a bunch of great games that are interesting to me that aren't going to be like indie games that I will eventually be able to get somewhere else. Yeah. Like
they finally all their exclusivity deals ended, so Xbox just got like Into the Gungeon. I forgot what else, but like Moon Hunters, that Square Enix game, that's on Xbox now. Like a bunch of games that's I think Sony had like exclusive indie rights for a while. All got finally.
So it's like that kind of stuff doesn't really sell for me anymore because I know I can if I just wait it out, I'll get to play it somewhere else.
Except for Supergiant, they don't ever want to bring Transistor over, and Fire comes out Sony exclusively, and I don't understand that, but whatever.
Supergiant is such a massive one-hit wonder where it's just like...
It's like Bastion was so good, it was on 360, that's actually where it came out first, and it's like, nah, let's never do that again.
Yeah. But so if they announce a bunch of cool new IPs that are interesting to me that don't look like they are like an angsty anime or a fan servicey game, like I'll be in. If they announce something for Vita, they're like, hey, you know what, guys? Vita, we love it again. So
well, that's what that guy always comes out and says, and then he announces like 2 games that are 50 years old on it.
Right.
This is also coming out on Vita.
Hey, but we didn't even talk about the Sony exec that said.
Oh my goodness. Should we talk about that?
What did he say?
He just said that old games are dumb. Why
would that? Why?
I don't know. What's better is the people defending Sony over that. Being like, yeah, don't you guys get it? Like. Sony's so great. They're so, like...
It's not their fault. They don't need to pay for our licenses so we can play this game. It's like, well, your only options now are to emulate the games illegally because it's hard to find these games. Like, well, that's not their problem.
See,
it's like...
The issue is that I agree with the sentiment where it's like, it's true. Like, they don't have to do this. I don't get it. I get that, but it's defending the sentiments of an obviously out-of-touch person.
Yeah.
As someone that is like, no, this guy is, like, right on. You know, he's right. Old games are stupid because out with the old, in with the new.
What I'd love to see those people explain then is why Sony sells them on their previous console. You can buy them, and it's like all people really want Sony to do is just make it so you can play those games you've already purchased on PS3, on PS4.
I don't think they so much care about having remasters as much as they want to be able to just play their old games.
Yeah, the games that we just bought on PS3 and Vita, like, just give us those games. They're like, no, Sony doesn't need to do that. It's like, well, they sold them to us like 3 years ago, so why can't they? You know, like.
But yeah.
But do you have any predictions for Nintendo?
I'm predicting that we are going to see
Metroid.
Star Fox.
No, I'm predicting maybe a new Donkey Kong Country.
Or, yeah, that could be cool.
Or
that
dreaming could be at least of a new Donkey Kong Country.
That could be what Retro's working on.
That's like the best thing that Nintendo's done in the last 10 years. I feel
Donkey
like
Kong Country series.
The return, because they did them right. They had the right people. They had the right music people. None of that dorky like stuff from, you know, like Jungle Beat and stuff. Like,
do you think?
Yeah, well, actually, that game is so much fun though. Yeah, did you ever play it where you play with the bongos and you do the platforming? It is so much fun.
The British-made Donkey Kong Country games 1, 2, and 3. They just have such like a weird mood to them.
Yeah,
it's so
they're really cool.
And they just took it and made it too cartoony. And it's like, I like Donkey Kong Country Returns because it at least attempts to get back to that kind of weird, serious vibe for such a colorful game about monkeys. I don't know. Something about it.
Do you think that we'll ever see another Diddy Kong Racing?
No. I wish, but I don't think so because I think Rare owns half of those characters.
I think we're going to see more screenshots of things that they've already talked about, like Project Octopath or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the, like...
I want to know, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had a 2017 on it when they showed this January. They haven't mentioned it once. Like, obviously it's not coming.
I'm expecting that game at some point.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be coming this year, and they haven't mentioned it
They'll
like
talk
once.
About it.
Yeah, they're going to talk about how it's not coming out this year. Like, oh yeah, remember how we put 2017
to continue our track record of disappointing you guys.
Anyways,
I'd be surprised if there wasn't a Kirby Switch announcement of some kind.
Yeah, because they announced 4 3DS games for him, so...
Wario World.
And then maybe just like an official statement that we will continue to support the 3DS into the near future.
I think you're right on there. I don't think we're going to see Virtual Console. I'm still hoping.
Super Nintendo Classic.
I hope they don't waste E3 time doing that. They only have a 30-minute video they're showing. So that's like, and I have a feeling half of that video is going to be indie games because they have tons of those that are coming out. So that's like what the Nintendo Switch is now, is indies and only new Switch games because they don't want to do Virtual Console. Anyways, we talked for a long time. We will hopefully be back next week because this will be the time to see if we're right about anything. And finally,
pretty insane predictions because I mostly just talked about what I wanted and what I hated.
Yeah. So. I'm hoping we see some cool stuff. I'm hoping this E3 Microsoft just announces stuff. And Nintendo gets something besides Mario.
We'll definitely see the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox.
Oh, wow. We do not need to see a PlayStation 5.
If they announce a PlayStation 5, that would be the greatest day of my life.
I know so many people will be so... Well, they'll probably say Sony did a great job, even though we'll essentially be shooting themselves in the foot, because I would not be surprised if Sony's like, yeah, and your PS4 games, don't worry about those. Yeah. Like, those aren't going to work.
You should stop buying them right now, please.
You should just... don't worry about any of our games, okay?
Yeah.
Because when you bought your PS3 or your PS4 Last of Us, you know, it totally worked. Wink. All right, you guys ready to go?
Yep.
Badooch.
All right.
All right, I got it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's to us people that can feel things. It hurts.